This was my holiday. This was taking off from Helsinki airport at, I don't know, 6:30. And we're sat on the runway watching the cranes come in to do the de-icing. It's always comforting knowing they're de-icing the wings and the ailerons, or whatever they call them, the flaps. So they actually work, we're in the sky. It wasn't that bad. It was about -3 or -4. Not a bad temperature. But I found it quite relaxing just sitting there, looking out the plane window at all the snow and watching these machines do their job so we could fly safely. On the way into Ivalo, I noticed this. Wonderful patterns, and I found out later it's a motor test track for tyre manufacturers and things. And this was another phone shot, and I just like the patterns. It's sort of streaks, but it's just the way the light was falling and the little river that was defrosted at the centre. And this one, I just liked the curve. There was no light. It looks mono, but it isn't mono. That's how it was. And when we arrived in Ivalo, there's a Norwegian Air Force helicopter, which looked quite fascinating, but they wouldn't let me go and have a look at it. And this is when I start to feel like I'm at home. It's dry, it's crisp, we've got blue sky, we've got sunshine. So I battled my way through the airport, went and got my car, got used to it after about 20 minutes of faffing around and finding out what went where. And off I poddled. Now, I've not driven on the wrong side of the road for an awful long time, and I've certainly not driven in conditions like these. So I decided I'd just take it nice and steady on the way up, follow the speed limits, watch what everyone else was doing, and it felt surprisingly normal being on the wrong side of the road. Now, this is rush hour. It's about 8:30, I think, and there's no traffic. And the roads are so clear. It's the phenomenal way they keep everything moving. They're used to it. They get snow for, I don't know, is it 7 months of the year? And I decided I wasn't going to sit and vlog my way through this journey. I was just going to absorb nature, look at the scenery. There's lakes on either side of this road, and they're just solid ice. And you can see in some places where there's skidoo tracks going over them. And you drive up through a little village called Inari, or Inari, I think is the correct way to pronounce it, where that wagon decided he was going to pull out in front of me. And there is a compulsory stop. There's only really one main road through to the jockey from Ivalo. And you get to Inari and you turn left, and there's a lovely little gas station. Beautiful little cafe. It serves wonderful hot chocolate. So it's almost a compulsory stop on the way in. And it just gives you a chance to stretch your legs. It's only about an hour or so away from Ivalo. But I can highly recommend, if you go to a jockey, call in here, get a lovely donut and some coffee. There's only really one main road from Ivalo to a jockey, and I think this is about 45 minutes from where I wanted to be. And I spent about an hour there, wandering around, taking in the scenery, little scenes like this, proper winter wonderland. And an hour was about all I could manage. It was around about -12, and all I got on was lightweight trousers for travelling in, so I didn't hang around too long. But I just love the odd tree that you get, standing out on its own with the ski or skidoo marks in the background. And this is coming into the jockey itself. It's not a huge village. I can't remember off the top of my head how many people live here. It's about, I I want to say about 3,000, but I might be wrong. The little gas station on the right hand side, very sensible prices, the little supermarket. The bridge that you see ahead is the bridge over into Norway. Now we got the little side road effectively up towards the cabins. There's a church on the left hand side. I don't think you'll be able to see it on this, but the roads look quite scary, and they're not. It's hard packed snow. You've got winter tyres on, you've got studs on, so the grip is absolutely phenomenal. And at no time did I ever feel unsafe driving in these conditions. This I figured would be quite interesting, because although the owners of Lomatapi do what they call snow work, which is clearing out, they have a little tractor I think come and clear out the entranceway, you can see how deep the snow is. And the little indentations on the left hand side that you could just see coming down onto the track, that's where the reindeer have been. But this little area of cabins is well off the main road. There's not a lot of traffic on there, so you never get a lot of road noise. And the mountain you see on the right hand side, that's the Norwegian Fells. And you do feel like you're in some sort of little enchanted forest. You've got the first few cabins in front of you. The small cabin is a little gift shop, and they sell all their handmade gifts in there. And this time my cabin was right down at the end, that's it on the left hand side, and they'd even cleared out the parking space for me there. Now, having spent most of the afternoon driving up, because I dawdled and dillied, I went out for Aurora that evening, -27. Needless to say, I didn't stay out for too long. But I trialled doing some time lapse with the Nikon Z50. Never done them before. Time lapse video, I'm quite impressed with that. Apologies for it being portrait orientation rather than landscape. But watching it now takes me back to being stood at the top of the watchtower in total awe. I don't think it's a sight I could ever get bored with. It was a little bit cloudy. The forecast wasn't particularly brilliant, but I had a place in mind that I wanted to shoot. And I figured, well, we'll go down and have a try. That's when I could tear myself away from watching the aurora dancing overhead. You can see the odd shooting star going off there as well. The bright flash is vehicles going across the Norway Road, the other side of the river. I think it's the River Tenno, I think. And this was a shot I really wanted to do, but the aurora just wasn't strong enough. Hope you've enjoyed this. Bye!